am live on Facebook. That's probably all that matters. So, hello. How are you? I want to know. I'm a little bitter today, friends. I'm a little upset. And I want you to tell me if you also are upset. So, I live in Kansas City, if you don't know. And I hate talking about the weather, but this deserves some attention today, okay? Kansas City, we've been in this stupid. Oh my gosh, it's snowing again too. What the F? Okay, it's snowing again. Our kids have been out of school multiple days this week. That's bad enough. But it's really freaking cold here. Like it's freezing. It's like 12 degrees in Kansas City right now. And somebody, one of my friends, 12 degrees in Kansas City. If geography is not your thing, Kansas City is directly across the state of Missouri. I'm in Kansas, but directly across the state of Missouri from St. Louis. And one of my St. Louis friends was talking about how it's 50 degrees in St. Louis. It's freaking 12 degrees in Kansas City. We are less than 4 hours away, directly across the state, and it's 50 degrees in St. I'm a little angry. So please tell me, are you experiencing this stupid, I don't know, winter storm like we are, or did you somehow like find a hole like St. Louis where it's nice and freaking warm? It's 50 degrees. Anyway, okay, I'm done. That's all we're going to say about that for right now until I get angry about it in a little bit. So what we're talking about today is something that I experience on a pretty serious level. One of the things that I always talk about, I am never going to be mom of the year. Never, ever. And part of that is because I pretty much suck at dinner time. And I have gotten to the point where I feel bad about it, but there are more. Somebody is telling me that they're warm. Are you in St. Louis, you jerk? Or are you one of those Florida people that it's like 66 degrees? And I actually do feel bad for the people in Florida. Anyway, I digress. I should not be this upset, but I am. Dinner time, mom guilt. We need to bring my guest up, Tricia Clark, who is phenomenal. She is a mealtime and relationship mentor. I love talking to her because she gives me ideas. She helps me to get over some of that guilt, helps me think about things. And I know mealtime is freaking hard. It is just as bad as this damn winter storm. Because first of all, when I had kids, nobody told me that I'd have to feed them multiple times a freaking day. What the hell? Nobody told me I'd have to plan dinner every single day. And even though I was really bad at this when I was also a kid, nobody reminded me that your kids are not going to want to eat 97% of the things that you planned for, even if they liked it last week. So I don't like dinner time. Let's bring Tricia up. Let's talk about all the things. Hopefully there's some good laughs in here. And if one more person tells me they're warm, I swear to God, I'm going to freak the F out. But here we go. Hello, Tricia.
Hello. Oh, JK, okay. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you about this today.
I am excited for you to be here too, but I have to know, how cold is it where you are?
Well, that's funny you should ask. I think it's supposed to be 9 tomorrow. It was 25 degrees when I left the house this morning, and it's dropped exponentially since then. To add to that fun, it's snowy and icy, and we're actually moving my daughter today. So we've all three just about bit it multiple times today. Our fingers are numb. I look like Rudolph. I am not in the warm camp. You will not be hearing that from me today.
No, but you are a couple hours south of me. So yes. I am not happy that you also are experiencing the frigidness. But I feel like you're getting, if St. Louis can be warmer, then I feel like you should be warmer too. And again,
I think the further south we go, the warmer it should be. And that is not holding true this weekend at all.
Right? What the, you know what? Another thing. Okay. I'm so sorry to stay on this topic. I was looking at a map that somebody posted because they were like, send all of the emergency rations to Florida, 66 degrees there. I don't know, today, this weekend, whatever. And then if you follow the map all the way to the northeast corner, I don't know if it's wind chill. It's got to be wind chill. It has to be wind chill. -50 all the way up in like Washington. -50. Ah! I should stop complaining. If anybody is watching this from Washington, I apologize for being an asshole about my 12 degrees.
Same.
Okay, so let's talk about this dinner time.
Yeah, let's do it.
First of all, tell us better because I went off on some tangents. Tell us exactly what it is that you do, what your passion, what your mission is, who you help with your mealtime relationship
Yeah.
mentoring.
I mean, at the core of it, my mission is really to create connections through food and hospitality. And I really found that I love working with other working moms and women entrepreneurs because we put so much pressure on ourselves to do all the freaking things and juggle all the things on top of being a parent. And I really found that there was nobody talking, everybody was talking about health, meal plans, subscriptions, and all of those are great, but they only solve one piece of the puzzle. And so I'm out here going, there's nobody talking about how to actually normalize this, create the plan or sustainable habits to where you can actually bring your best self to the table and actually connect with your people. Because we all have to eat. And for most of us, that's one time a day or at least a few times a week where we are actually together. And it should be celebrated, right? And I think there's just such an opportunity to really shift our mindset and our processes where that's concerned and quit worrying about being the effing perfect Pinterest mom. And don't get me wrong, I love Pinterest. I love to save recipes on Pinterest. But we hold ourselves up to these standards that are unrealistic or don't fit our lifestyles because we see other people living that way, much like all the other influences we have out here in the online world.
So I think it's really weird. When I was a kid, yes, I did a ton of after school stuff, but for the most part, and my brothers did too. But family dinner time was like, it was a big deal at our house. Like if we were home, we ate at the table. There was no taking our plate. In fact, my mom would not be nice if anybody even, we didn't even think about it, like taking our plate and watching TV, like that was not even there, that was not a thing. And now, and I'm 150% guilty of this, like now we, part of this and it wasn't you that I had this conversation with, part last year I spent a lot of time upstairs, not coming downstairs at all because of health issues and whatnot. So we as a family were not eating at the table like ever. We weren't even eating at the same time or in the same room. So, sitting in front of the TV eating or, all over the house, not at the same time. The world has shifted, made a major shift, and now that's the norm. And it's, I don't know if it's weird to me. I'm just like, where did we make that shift?
So it's interesting that you bring that up because my experience as a kid was completely the opposite. I don't remember there being family mealtime. I was allowed to do whatever it was that I wanted, right? So I'm coming into this wanting to create those connections I didn't have. And I'm talking to you who it's like, how do I get back to what I grew up with? And it's a really interesting point because the more women I meet, the obstacle, the way it presents itself is honestly the same. It's hard to get dinner on the table. But where it stems from is different for everyone. From I grew up with this, so I feel like it's supposed to be this way, and I feel guilty that it's not. So you've got the flip side of me going, I didn't grow up this way, and I want this in my family, right? And so I think part of it is so much, and a lot of what I do is work with women to understand their schedule, their lifestyles, their kids, the extracurricular activities, and where can we fit it in that it makes sense and it feels less stressful? Where does it feel easy, even if it's 10 minutes at a time? And I'll be honest with you, like, I mean, having teenagers, if sitting down in the living room on the couch to eat dinner and they want me to watch a TV show with them, and that gives me a glimpse into what's important to them, and that's where we connect and we're eating dinner, I don't give a fig if it's around the table or in front of the TV. Like, I really don't, because it's about spending the time making sure that they feel seen, loved, and heard, and so do I.
Yeah, that's good. So it's also interesting. Well, first of all, I want to know if you're watching this live or the replay. I want to know if you're watching live or the replay. But tell us what dinner time was like for you. Were you like me, where your parents were like, you're sitting at the table, I don't give a shit? Or were you like Tricia, where you ate wherever and there wasn't that family dinner time? And then tell us what it's like in your family now. So being an entrepreneur, it's hard to figure out when dinner time is. My husband it's not crazy anymore. When he was working like second or third shift dinner time, that it was easy for us to just do whatever, the kids and I. And now that he's home more, we're trying to be more structured. But what's really interesting is I have 2 kids that are at home, and one of them could not care less. She is the older one. She doesn't care about dinner time. You know, she would rather sit in her bedroom with her earbuds in and be on her own. And then the other one is like, we're having family dinner tonight. Everybody's coming to she's like a Nazi about it. I think it's pretty interesting, but she craves that intentional time around the dinner table. Mm-hmm. And I find it super fascinating that my kids have different. Go ahead.
I love that actually, because what it does is give you the opportunity. I think we have these preconceived notions around what meal planning is. And when I say meal planning, everybody's like, ooh, right? They're thinking, oh my God, 3 meals a day, 2 snacks. I'm cooking every night of the week. I'm feeding them 3 times a day. And that is not at all what I'm talking about. A meal plan for you, JKN, could simply be tonight's the night you can grab what you want and go sit in your room. And tomorrow night's the night we all sit at the table. Everybody gets what they need, but boundaries are set in terms of the expectation. They know the night that they have to look forward to, where they get what they want out of it, whether that's a favorite food, whether that's where they eat, whether that's how you eat or don't eat together. Like, everybody's kind of a part of that decision and that meal planning process, which also lifts all the pressure off of you to create this experience every day of the week.
Mm-hmm. So I know that this is going to surprise everybody watching, but I'm a huge taco fan. And so we have every single week Taco Tuesday. And that is without a doubt, doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter where Michaela wants to be, how late Joel is working. In fact, I think it was last week. He didn't even come home until like 7:00, which was really late for him. He usually gets home at 3:30. So he had a lot of overtime. But we had at like 8:00 Taco Tuesday, and everybody sat at the table and we ate our tacos. And that is probably the only thing right now that we have set in stone. There's no question. That's Taco Tuesday. This is what we're having. Everybody's eating it. We're sitting at the table. It doesn't matter what time.
Yes, I love that, because those boundaries they're really important for us as moms, and in order to have those boundaries in place, because to me, that's part of our own self-care process, but it also sets boundaries and expectations for them. So like, everybody knows what to expect out of that. And I mean, who doesn't love, I've met very few people who don't love tacos. So like, Taco Tuesday is the perfect night for that kind of moment. The other thing about Taco Tuesday is, I know that you talked about liking chicken the other day and your kids like beef. Taco Tuesday is a great night to set out the bar, and then everybody can personalize their tacos. It's a personalized experience. And so often our littles will look at what the older ones are putting on their tacos and think, maybe I will try that today because they made it look interesting, or my big sister or brother is trying it, right? It's another great way to bring those picky eaters into the process as well. Which, when we talk about mealtime mom guilt, you've hit on high expectations, you've hit on time constraints, you've hit on what mealtime looked like in your childhood, you've hit on picky eaters, and we've hit a little bit on the self-care neglect if we don't set those boundaries. And if we think about it, those are typically like all the things that come in, and it's figuring out what are the battles we do want to fight, and then recognizing that it will ebb and flow with time, just like you said with your husband working nights. You go through and you just accept that there's a time where this is how it's going to be. And now you're trying to get more structured, and chances are there will be another time where what this looks like for you changes. And that's okay. We don't have to do it the way our moms did it.
No, it's funny that you mentioned picky eaters, because in my house, I am the pickiest eater. So I try really, really hard to, some nights we'll have, I'll call it a la carte night. So I specifically we keep lots of, not random, but really random things in the house, so that if you're not going to eat this, here's your other option, right? Like, there's never any, I'm not eating because I don't want to eat what's for dinner, which makes me nuts sometimes. But I specifically plan several nights a week where everybody eats their own thing, because I know I'm not eating dinner. So last night is a great example. I have never, ever, 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 ever liked Hamburger Helper. Well, my husband and one of my kids loves Hamburger Helper meals. They Michaela likes to make it. They like to eat it. It makes me want to gag. And so they had their dinner. And then Amelia and I had, what did we have? Oh, we had rice bowls, which by the way weren't very good, but that's a whole nother story. Basically it was a, what do you call it? What do you call it when you just throw random leftover stuff in like a bowl that has a specific name? Do you know what I'm talking about? I can't think of it either.
I can't think of it.
That's basically what she did. She's like, well, we have rice and we have some chicken left over and I can put a little bit of cheese. So we had whatever
salsa.
Yeah, we did not have any salsa and we threw out the pico from taco night because that's what we do every week. It goes bad before we use it, so we just throw it out, right? Anyway, so that's what we did last night is separate meals for the two halves of the family, mostly because I'm super picky. But yeah, how many of you watching this, who do you have picky eaters in your house? I just slurred my words. I promise I have
today, JKM.
No, I woke up this damn weather. Again, this freaking weather has my sinuses so jacked up. I did not. Fridays are my 6 o'clock day. One of my 3 6 o'clock days. I stayed in bed until, I don't know, 9, because I had a 9:30 meeting and it was so lovely. I was in the bathroom trying to get ready and I heard the youngest again. She woke up and I said, can I have a hug? And she goes, yeah, what's wrong with you? And I go, my head hurts so bad. And she says, are you going to be working today? And I said, yeah, I have to. And I love this. I'm going to have to tell my friend Leslie this. She's my self-care person, but she goes, no, you don't have to. And I'm like, oh, you are right. I don't have to. That is the beautiful thing, but I need to. So anyway, my words are slurring because my head hurts and this light is bright. All the things totally getting off track, which is what happens with the Badass Funnel Fiesta. Didn't I warn you? Don't know what's going to happen. Well, we're going to talk about whatever happens, happens. And here we go. Fucking weather again. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Okay. So we were talking about picky eaters. Yeah. I want to know, if you're watching this, who's the picky eater in your family and how do you deal with that in your house? I would love to, because it's me. I'm the problem. I'm the picky person. Did you have picky eaters when your kids were little?
I never really have, but it was a mission for me because I was a picky eater. Like if it wasn't canned, frozen, or in a box as a kid, I wouldn't eat it. It was awful.
Canned, frozen, or in a box?
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful. I was so picky. I don't even think I ate my first green vegetable till I was in my 20s.
Oh, guys, I am a really, really, really bad vegetable eater. Like, that's probably, Tricia, let me tell you, my lack of eating correct vegetables is probably the biggest area of where my mom guilt around dinner time comes in, because I don't even freaking buy them. That's not true. My family requests vegetables and I buy them for them, and that makes me feel good, but I don't eat them. I take vegetable supplements. I'm so bad.
Okay, I have a question.
Please ask.
What was your experience with vegetables growing up?
My mom forced me to eat every vegetable on my plate.
Like a Clean Your Plate Club, eat every vegetable on your plate?
That was the goal. And then we had a very strict 3-bite rule. So I got real good at making it look like I took much bigger bites than I really did.
The 3-bite rule is my favorite, but we've always made it a game.
Nope. It was punishment not punishment, but it was, I mean, I told you, and I'm making my mom sound so much worse than she was, but she had expectations. Like we were having dinner together, and damn it, she cooked dinner for us every single night. Like she was the do it all mom. I don't cook dinner. My kids cook, and sometimes my husband cooks. Again, that's because I do not have the capability of, these hands don't work. I can't stand in the kitchen. So I have to plan for them. But she made dinner every single night. And if she was going to take the time to cook us dinner, we were going to eat it. And if we didn't like it, we were going to take our 3 bites. And if she was in a good mood, we could be done after the 3 bites. But I just struggle with vegetables.
Did she cook fresh vegetables, canned vegetables, both?
Oh, another good question. We had canned green beans all the time. And I like corn. I like corn. And you know why I like corn? It has no nutritional value. I don't dislike green beans. But pretty much outside of the, oh, and guess what? I love potatoes, which I don't even know if we can count as vegetables anymore.
I mean,
But
they have some nutritional content.
yeah, well, I like potatoes. I especially like them fried.
Who doesn't?
Mashed and fried are my favorite. Anyway, so yeah, I appreciate the question that you asked because I recognize that I probably resist freaking vegetables as much as I did because it was like war. It was like pulling teeth when I was a kid to eat those damn vegetables. And I'm completely content with my vegetable supplement, but that does not make my mom guilt feel any less that I do not do a better job of bringing the vegetables into my house.
Have you thought about trying a new spin on the 3-bite rule for yourself to encourage your kids to try all the different flavors?
Listen, they like vegetables. They're not the problem. They ask
They're
me
not the
to
problem.
buy
Okay.
raw vegetables all the time. I really am the problem. I don't even buy them. I don't even plan my
I'm curious. Now I feel like I have a personal challenge to get JK to try cooked fresh vegetables instead of canned vegetables.
You know, I've said a lot of times in this interview. First of all, I don't even dislike a lot of things. Like I like raw broccoli.
Yeah.
Sometimes, actually a lot of times, I like broccoli cooked into whatever our meal is. So that's cool.
Oh, so it's not really the vegetables you don't like. It really does stem from being forced to eat them.
It has to. And I'm really
Interesting.
lazy. And I don't like, I also, okay, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if I ever told you this. I'm not a good eater. Like my mom still to this day, and I know some of you, because a couple of people have mentioned this to me this week alone. I know some of you think that I am like 20 years old, but I'm not. I'm much older than 20 years old. And my mom still to this day gets on my butt about how I eat. And now my husband, who we've been together almost 20 years, so I'm much older than 20. Sorry, I think it's funny. He gets on to me about my eating habits too. I don't eat 3 times a day. I am a workaholic. I forget to eat. I sit at my desk because I'm a workaholic, but the mobility thing, right? So a lot of times I will eat at my desk to save time some, but mostly because I don't like going and sitting in other places in the house. It's hard for me to get up and out of chairs. So, and I've had terrible eating habits even long before mobility was a thing. Like I might eat, I don't know, some crackers because I'm a little hungry. If I forget to eat for a day or two, it doesn't bother me until I get a headache. That's why I get a lot of headaches too, because I am a terrible, terrible, terrible eater. I have bad habits.
I'm super curious. What's your human design?
I am first of all, what do you think I am?
I don't know. You kind of have me stumped.
I am a generator. I always question why I'm not a Manny-gen. And then my really good human design friend pointed out one tiny little thing that makes sense. I always forget what she says, but I am a full-blown generator.
Okay. Let me think about that one for a bit.
2-4, if that means anything to you off the top of your head.
So you have the hermit tendencies.
I have the what tendencies?
The hermit tendencies of the two.
I would agree with that.
I don't remember what the 4 line is.
Kate. So I'm just looking at the chat over here, and so Kate is my energy healing friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling you, I'm telling the people watching this. I know you know who Kate is. But she works with me a lot to get over my fears of going up and down the stairs and getting in and out of my shower. So now she says in the chat that the next thing that we need to work on is my resistance to eating vegetables.
Yes, Kate. I feel a tag team coming on.
Yeah, guys, I know that's why I like having these conversations, because first of all, I'm an open book. You ask me a question, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel about a subject. And I love having people on that I know that I am a good example of things to change. I don't know. But I also think that a lot of these things are super entertaining for me to talk about.
Agreed. I mean, how we grew up and our eating and how our parents fed us, to me, is always fodder for good conversation, good or bad. Like, there's always, if you think about food, and if anybody's been following me or is familiar with me, you've probably heard me say this a million times, but even bad food creates conversation and laughter. Like, it just does.
Yeah.
Oh, that creates memories.
Oh man, here's another really great conversation that we could go down, or maybe not. I don't know. But when I was a kid, we had, okay, you know how you don't know what you don't know. We all did stupid stuff around food when we were younger. Now here we are 20, 30 years later. Words are hard. We know how bad sugar is. I mean, what is that thing? You are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are what you eat. So I didn't put hardly any stock into that until the rheumatoid arthritis symptoms kicked in. And then I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. So as a kid, terrible eating habit. Well, we already know. We ate a lot of junk food at my house because we didn't know, right? They tasted, chips were great. Little Debbie's, fantastic. Pudding cups were cheap.
Oh, yeah.
So that you could, put those in your lunch. So my mom made great meals. Dinner time was probably the only time that we ate halfway nutritious. Everything else was garbage. And if you go back and you find pictures of me when I was much younger, you can see the results. I had a very round face. And as I got older and I continued eating all of the crap, I was not healthy. You can tell. So as rheumatoid arthritis progressed and I learned I should not eat any of those things, I got healthier, and you can see that in my face now. But what was I going to say? So we had those things when I was a kid. This is another example of the difference between being a kid and being the parent. Mm-hmm. Now we keep very few things in this house. Like, we don't really have chocolate, which is sad for me. We only have chips in the house for like lunchtime, to go with sandwiches because my husband takes his lunch to work. But my children crave that stuff. Like, if you put them in a situation where I don't eat a lot of cake anymore, like hardly ever. I abstain from dessert a lot. I still like it. But my kids, if you put them in those situations, like, they will eat whatever they have the opportunity, and they'll eat. Like, they'll have 3 and 4 pieces of cake until they're like, oh, this was dumb. Now I'm sick. So what? I don't even know if I have a question tied to that, but that's just another thing that's so interesting to me around food and mealtime.
Because I feel like we have a tendency to go ditch to ditch, right? And trying to find that line of moderation it's hard for us. Let's be honest, it really is. I encourage everyone to keep a stash of chocolate for themselves so their kids don't know where it is. Not gonna lie.
I don't have a secret stash. They find it every single freaking time.
Make one where they can't even reach it in your room where you never come out. Like,
okay, listen to me. I need to paint a picture for you. I sit down 97% of my time. My kids sitting down are taller than me all the time. There is no place that they can reach, that they cannot reach. If they can't reach it, I can't reach it.
I'm going to send JK in a lockbox.
We have those. We have a couple of them in my house. Not kidding. Anyway, I digress.
But all that said, like, I think one of the things that we can do is, especially for whether this is, got an AirPod that just jumped out of my ear.
Yeah, they do that. Those.
Did you see that? It's like it sprouted legs. I'm a big fan of keeping, like, here's a shelf of snacks you can have anytime you want, whether that's in the fridge, like it's, fancy little cut up charcuterie or fresh vegetables or fruit pouches, whatever. Like, here are all the things you can have as much of as you want. And then somewhere else, you're like, here are the things that you get once a day. And when they're gone, they're gone. So, like, if you decide you're going to cheat and you're going to eat 3 of them, just know that you're not going to get any more for like 2 weeks. And the next time I go shopping at Sam's Club or whatever, like
Mhm.
these are the special treats. These are the things you can have all the time. That way it's not so like I'm going to eat 10 of them the next time I see them because I never get them. But it also comes with consequences in terms of if you eat it all, it's gone. Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna refill that for a while.
Yeah. I
But
like
it
how you
sets,
say that. And I say that too. But I don't feel like it works. I feel like
do
they
you,
still make the decision to eat it all the first day.
they might, but do you follow through with not refilling it?
Yeah. And I'm
Okay.
mean about it too. It's much longer than 2 weeks. You know what they're really bad at? Listen, well, I mean, I kind of already said this. And we've gotten into the habit. So I have we already discussed I'm terrible at eating. There's not a lot of, I'm picky, so there's very little things in the house that I will eat. And because I'm by myself so much throughout the week at lunchtime, like this is very specifically, this is my food. Like this is the only thing that I have to eat at lunchtime. Don't touch it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we've started the habit of addressing or tagging out loud, not actually writing on them, but this is mom's, don't touch it. This is for my lunchtime. Don't try and feed it to me any other time because my family brings me the food if we're not at the table, all the things, right? So we have tried that type of habit where we're getting into the routine of you can eat this, you can't eat this. It's not that you can't eat this. This is for me, or this is for your dad's lunch. Don't touch it. Maybe some progress there, but we're
Yeah.
still eating those habits.
Yeah. I mean, they all take practice, right? None of it happens overnight, and it really does take. And I think the frustrating part, I know it can be frustrating, is the trial and error of it, right? But we have to give those things time to take effect and those habits to build before we decide to change them up. Just like a social media strategy, right? Like we need to give it time to work before we decide to pivot. And we're so used to that instant gratification and get so frustrated again with ourselves that, oh my God, this didn't work either. And so I think we really have to take a step back and, there's that saying, how we do one thing is how we do all things. And so how we approach our businesses and how we assess and pivot and let things work out, we need to really internalize that even when it comes to something that seems as simple as mealtime, because we say it's simple, but we also know that it comes with a ton of overwhelm and stress. And so really being intentional about the things that we're trying and making sure that the decisions that we're making are aligned with our goals, right?
It's so funny that you just said all of that. Because I tell my kids all the time since they were babies, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's, I mean, drilled into their brains. And part of the reason that I say I am never going to be mom of the year is because I am completely okay and understand that in business, we have to create consistent habits. Do you see this? You know, I do not expect instant gratification anywhere. Things take time. You gotta build those up. But when it comes to anything at home,
Mm-hmm.
all of those rules and things that I understand throw out the window. Like if we are making this rule, like why I want instant gratification. So that I appreciate that you brought that up because I need to have more patience in the time it takes to create those habits and run my house like I'm the manager instead of the
Right.
mom because
The other
I'm
thing
not.
I'll say is, you've mentioned a lot of things that you're trying to change at one time. And so the other thing that I think we have to think about is it's kind of like saying, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start a diet and here is my really strict meal plan and I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to drink 80 ounces of water every day and I'm going to start all of that today or tomorrow. I don't know
Feel
why
you.
we think that that is the way to do things because we've proven to ourselves over and over again that that doesn't work.
Yep.
So pick one thing at a time, do it for 3 weeks. If you're seeing progress, then pick another one. We don't have to change the world in a day. Again, how we don't do that in our businesses. I mean, we've all tried and failed.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to change a lot of structure at one time. And I think you need to give yourself some grace.
Well,
And
and to be to what do I want to say? In my own defense, It sounds like I'm trying to do all these things at once, and it's been a really long time that we've been working on some of these things. But at the same time, I have the expectations that even though we've been working on all of them for a really long time, that they should be done faster. I don't know. Anyway, I appreciate what you said, and I'm gonna do better at not expecting so much. Yes, I'm going to do better.
It's never, no habit that we start is ever going to be 100% perfect. There's still going to be nights where you drop the taco meat in the floor, or you burn dinner, or things don't go as planned.
Did I tell you that happened last week?
You did.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a rough night.
But that will be, that's a story that's going to carry on for a long time. And so, embrace those imperfections and cherish those moments, because I'm going to go back to the fact that they do create laughter and connection. Even if it was frustrating in the moment, it's going to be a funny story. Like, I still tell the story of when my sister added like 2 tablespoons of cinnamon to the top of a casserole that was supposed to have paprika. All of those stories they get told time and time again. And if we think about it, that's outside of nutrition. Mealtime, and we haven't touched enough on this, is that mealtime is so much more than just nourishing your body. It is about nourishing those connections in your soul as well. Mm-hmm. And so when we shift our intention and our expectations in it, we do approach it with a different energy. The food tastes different. The environment is different. It really does affect all the facets. And so if you're bringing angsty energy to the table or frustrated energy to the table, don't be surprised that everybody else doesn't want to talk or feels frustrated. And I'm not just talking to you, JK, I'm just talking to everyone listening. Like, if you step back and think about what you are bringing to it, don't be disappointed when you get exactly what you're bringing back.
So good. Okay. We could probably go on for forever, because I have no problem talking about my shortcomings, especially when it comes to mom and food and all the things. But we gotta, I need to eat, actually.
I know, we could talk all day.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Tricia is going to be back. I've booked her and her amazingness for the Purpose and Profit Summit that's coming up in a couple of weeks. She'll be doing a workshop, and I don't have the workshop title in front of me, but she was on the ball. She has I'm going to add it to the website today. And then also the event in February, where we'll be focusing on moms and relationships. So 2 times coming up, she's going to be doing actual workshops. I will get out of the way, and she's going to teach us all of her genius. Make sure that you're checking for those updates. Let me see. I forgot to ask you, did you have anything that you wanted to share, like a freebie or a resource?
Yeah, I do. I just released, it's a private podcast. Think of it it's a 7-day podcast. Think of it like a challenge. It's a private podcast, and there's a workbook that comes along with it. And there's just like 1 step every day, from shifting your mindset to thinking about how you meal plan, just to give you some of those wins, those small wins along the way. And so I'll be sure to drop the link in the comments, but it's triciasbitesoflife.com/nourishconnect for the private podcast.
Yeah.
And that'll put you on my email list, and you'll get the link right away. And then in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk all about setting nourishment goals, and goals that align with your schedule and all of your own personal quirks and craziness that make you amazing. And so all of your solutions should be too. Forget about all this cookie cutter bullshit. We're going to figure out something that works specifically for you and your own uniqueness.
That's fantastic. I can't wait. Yeah. Be sure to put that link in the comments, and then I will share it to YouTube. It looks like I am not streaming to the LinkedIn right now, but we can share it.
Okay. Well, and the last thing I'll say is, if you guys, I know JK asked you to put in like, what was mealtime like as you were growing up? What is it like right now? But I want to hear in the comments, what do you want it to be? If nothing were in the way, what would the perfect mealtime look like for you?
I love it. Yeah. And be sure when you put that, tag her, because Facebook is being stupid still, and we don't see comments. It doesn't tell us the notifications of comments all the time, which is dumb, but whatever. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm just a DM away. If you have any other specific questions, I'm happy to chat.
Perfect.
So thank you so much.
No, thank you. This was a fantastic conversation. I never, ever, ever let this roll 40 minutes because I think that's really long. But it's been great. It was fun. I hope that you guys got a little giggle out of some of my ridiculousness. And I especially hope that you've had some aha moments. And tell us all of the things. We will see you in the Facebook group or YouTube later on. And stay warm, friends, unless you're in St. Louis, and then wear your freaking shorts because it's 50 degrees, you jerks. All right. See you guys later.
Bye. Thanks.